Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Sunshine Acres. Jason here, up in the wood yard right now, but we're going to be working down in the barn today, and we're going to be working on some IBC totes. So you can see the two that we have had, and we stocked this one with cedar shorts, which will get processed further after they come out of the kiln, and then these are the offcuts from cooking wood from both oak and hickory, and the goal is to pursue making charcoal out of this pile. So I don't know if you've seen these totes before. Tons of people have them, especially as far as using for firewood and different things around the wood yard. I don't anticipate us using them much for firewood, but I do want to use them more for these shorter pieces and offcuts, and just a way to kind of basket that type of material, be able to get it into a kiln and out efficiently by using the forks on the skid steer and or the tractor. So what we need to look at as far as processing these things, and we'll go down and show you in a minute, is a lot of folks will cut out a section to be able to access. You put firewood in the basket, you need to be able to lean into it. It's easy enough to load, it's hard to unload without tipping the whole basket over and that kind of thing. So, but what I haven't seen is being able to replace that piece and keep the basket intact with something full. I've thought about just running a full piece over the front, strap it on there. I mean, that would definitely do the trick, but that restricts airflow. So I've got some ideas, and we'll go down to the barn and look at that in a minute. But yeah, this is kind of the end product without taking a side out for accessing it, which we probably will do on these baskets at some point. But yeah, that's gonna be in the future. So let's go down to the barn and I'll show you what we got. All right, so we're down here at the barn now. These are the two new IBC tote cages that I picked up, I don't know, I guess a week or so ago. And before we get going, it has just been super hot out here. I mean, today is not too bad. We're in the shade right now, so I think we got a nice window to get this work done. But even though it's still in the 90s, it is not as hot as it was last week, but man, it will melt your face off so far. So on these cages, and I may have to zoom in here. Let me mark this one and then I'll zoom in on the other one, and I'll maybe overlap those. But we want to cut this guy right here, 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 here. So that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cuts. And that should allow enough access to be able to reach in here. It may not be able to get all the way to the corner, but we can get it empty enough to where you can shake it and rock it and pull the material forward. So, and once we get those cut out, then I'm gonna show you, I've got a couple ideas here I think it is going to work. And the other thing we're gonna do is, and I should have pointed this out when we were up in the wood yard, but since we're dealing with smaller pieces and chunks, you can see the hole that we have here. I mean, the smaller pieces can tend to float out. So I want to wrap the inside of this with some chicken wire and get all that nice and secure. So it should be just easy to pop these guys in there and not worry about them falling out the sides as well. So yeah, come along. We're going to start cutting these things up. All right, so you can see, I think that's hard to tell on camera because you can't quite see the depth of it, maybe. But we've got this area of the cage removed. So this will allow access to be able to reach in here to the bottom. But now what we want to do is I want to create a way to be able to reattach this face. And I'm going to use this conduit right here in 2 locations on each one of them. And what I want to do is I'll bolt this guy solid to the removable piece, and then we'll drill holes and just have pins for the other side. And I think that'll be strong enough. I don't think there'll be a whole lot of weight on it, so I'm hoping that will be a good solution. But yeah, I think before, actually no, let's go ahead and do that now. And we'll go ahead and I'm gonna cut, this is just conduit. It's actually painted brown. We had used it for the house, so it's left over. But I'm gonna cut 3 more of these at 32 inches. And then, like I said, we're gonna find some tiny bolts and fasten those guys right here and fix them to this. I'll fix them, fixing? That can't be a word, come on. But I'm gonna attach the conduit to the removable pieces, so come on. Okay, so we got these removable cage fronts put together. I think that looks fine. I've got some ideas as far as how we're going to attach them. We're going to do each one differently, but we'll get into that here in a minute. But while I've still got a little bit of shade in this workspace, I want to get inside the cages and run some chicken wire around to just kind of fill up these the big holes, make them smaller. Go from there, but come along. Yeah, we gotta hurry up before it gets too hot. Okay, so we've got the first one done with the chicken wire. I got this last piece put on here. Now on the second one over here, I'm gonna try zip ties on that one instead of all the wire. I think it'll be okay in the kiln. We tap out at 170 degrees, about around there. I think the zip ties will be okay, so I'm going to try that as well. So I do kind of see that being a maintenance issue on this. I mean, things are going to get hit, they'll pop open, so we're constantly going to have to be fixing these every time we empty and reload them. So, and then also this, kind of looks a little loose here on the door, if you will, but I think it's still enough. We'll see how it goes, but like I said, it may take some ongoing maintenance. I'm not going to video the second one, but I'm going to go ahead and get that one done, and then I'll show you what that looks like after we have that put together, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to fasten our removable doors for these guys. So one more basket. Okay, so I did shoot a little video of that, and I don't know if you probably can't tell because I'm speeding everything up quick, but that went, I don't know, 3 times as fast as doing the wire. Which part of it may just be working with the material, getting used to it. But I think in general, I mean, the zip ties work a lot better. So that's going to be my preference. If they can make it through a kiln cycle without melting and falling off, then you see all the tails. I'll go through with the scissors and cut those guys off. Yeah, let me do a quick close-up around these. So this is basket number 1, or basket A, using the wire. But you probably can't even really see that. Then we go to the one with the zip ties. Yeah, that worked much better. Now we're down to final steps before we fill one of these guys up, and we're gonna do two different methods of attaching our hatch doors, mostly because of materials that we have on hand. So we're gonna, I'd have a personal preference, so we'll see how it goes. But on this first one that has the wire, we're actually gonna run rope through both of these guys right here. And we'll have enough, it'll wrap around the entire cage, and then I've got a Velcro strap to tighten it up on the back end. That's not my preferred method to do this, but it is something we have on hand, so it's free for what it is. This is gonna be a little trickier, but I hope it works. I'm gonna attach these angles just like that. It's gonna be a little tricky to get them square and somewhat consistent, but the goal is that it'll latch in. So we'll be able to walk up and catch a lip. That's gonna be my preferred method, hopefully. I don't know how successful it's gonna be. I think it'll work, but it may need a longer angle. Maybe like, this is maybe like 1.5 inches, and if it had like a 3-inch ledge down here where you could really catch it, and it could be off a little bit, because this is not structural, it's just kind of closing the gap. So I think with the right size angle, this may be the right idea. It just may not be the right application for this angle. So let's get going. We're gonna put these guys on and then wrap this thing up. Come along. It is still hot out here, good Lord. I picked this activity so I could be in the barn today, and you just standing still makes you sweat. I turned the fan off when I cut the camera on so you don't hear that, but even with that running, good Lord, it is hot. Okay, so I don't know if it's the heat, but I just did not think that through. As far as running it through here, I'm gonna run into the bolts that we put in. So there's really virtually no way to run something through there. But my little Velcro straps here are actually about the perfect length to strap that in. So I'm gonna try to do that right now. I'll try to bring you in a little closer for this one.
I never really know what's going on.
So I was gonna use self-tapping screws in here, and then I thought, let's try it first with zip ties. So you saw me put those together. Even if that angle was bigger, I still think this is a kind of a flawed method. So I'm gonna say probably no to both of these things we've done so far and go on to option 3. So I'm gonna do a test run on one of those. If that works, then we'll come back and talk about that. But
Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to.
okay, that's a wrap for this video. So you can see what we did was we just ran a vertical 2x4, 32 inches on the back side, a little spacer to make a gap, put another 2x4 on the front to catch these bars, and the top seems to slide in pretty well. This second run is very tight, so we really got to force it in there. But I mean, we're talking a few times a year these will come on and off, so it's really, to me, not that big of a deal. You just want to be able to remove it, because at some point when you're emptying this thing out and you have access down here, that's going to be really nice. So to get these guys on as it stands right now, we have to use a little persuasion. But once it's in there, and that feels pretty good. That's actually better than I anticipated for that. So I don't like that it's really tight, but that doesn't hurt my feelings enough to change it. So I think we're gonna roll with it, use it a couple times, and go from there. But yeah, super happy with this. I've been keeping an eye on these things, and I watch other YouTube channels and I see guys getting them, and they typically use them for firewood. We're gonna be using them more for charcoal wood, smoking chunks, smaller type things that require this, the chicken wire. So we've got these guys wrapped now, and I think when we empty the first two, we'll deck those guys out just like we did this, maybe with a few modifications. I definitely like the zip ties versus the wire. I mean, this thing is littered with, but I mean, this has little poking dangers, I guess, all over the place, but we'll typically be wearing gloves when we're working on these guys. But yeah, real happy. I think we've got leftover hickory cutoffs and some smaller logs that I think we'll run into chunks. I think that's the first one that we'll get after with these guys. So yeah, happy to have this, and we'll be on the lookout for more of them. Like I said, I watch other YouTube channels that use these, and they're talking about getting them for, I mean, prices way cheaper than I'm seeing around here. But so that's why I've been reluctant a little bit to get some, but we need it. We always need more storage, and these guys allow us to move things around with the pallet forks, and it's just so much easier. So yep, very happy with that, and we'll start filling these guys up very soon. And yeah, I guess that's it. Leave a comment if you got any other suggestions, or if anybody else has cut out these container cages and then put the cage back together, I guess is what I'm looking for. I kind of like this, but obviously open to suggestions moving forward for the future. So let me know if y'all have done something else, or if you've seen somebody else do something that you think's better, and we'll go from there. But hope you liked this video. If you did, please leave a comment, hit the like button, hit subscribe, tell your mama, tell your friends. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.